Hi, everyone.
We're back. It's me. It's that Charles.
That's Charles, and I'm Chelsea.
Yes.
Those are our names.
From CL Square Productions, and this is episode 5 of our cinematic autopsies.
Yes.
Yay. Golf clap.
Golf clap.
Yes.
He is actually golf clapping. You can't see it, but he is.
Yes. So, anyway, this week, we are, reviewing, well, not really reviewing, we don't really review here,
we just autopsy.
Yes, exactly. It's like the difference between a coroner going, oh, that is a dead white dude, and a coroner taking apart the
and
dead
a coroner
white dude.
knowing his job.
Exactly. So, this movie is called Dee Snider's Strangeland, which is really appropriate that it has Dee Snider's Strangeland, because it was written by him, produced by him, starring him, even though it was directed by acclaimed director John Pieplow of the classic Jurassic Women film.
Favorite movie.
Yes, which is apparently like, if you, it's like two astronauts land on a planet filled with, like, cave women. So, it sounds like Planet of the Apes, but with, like, half-naked women.
I'm okay with it.
So, well, I mean, after the quarantine and everyone being without touch, I'm sure many of us would be okay with that. But, so, let's get right into this. It's a 1998 film, by, once again, Dee Snider, and had a $1.1 million budget.
Insanity.
And is pretty much about Dee Snider kidnaps people and forcibly pierces them. And I have now told you the whole movie.
That is the entire movie. The movie could have been done in 30 minutes, and we'll get to why shortly.
Yeah. So, let's really go into that. So it starts with a very standard 90s intro sequence.
With horrible fonts.
Yeah, but if anything, like the fonts were actually pixelized.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like the fonts were not designed to be in HD.
No.
And the intro, if anything, it reminded me of what would happen if you, like, say, took an American Horror Story intro, but gave them lots and lots of, like, downers. So that it's really slow. It's just like, look, there's blood on a table, and there's a needle next to the blood.
Look at the needle. Now look at the table.
We're going to show it to you for about 10 seconds. There you go.
It lasted an eternity.
Yeah. And yet this, unlike The Sentinel, is not a movie that had its entire credits at the beginning. But it had, like, what seemed like a 4-minute fucking intro sequence or something, which is, for a movie that's an hour and 27 minutes, is taking up a whole lot of real estate.
It's like they wanted to be within the, like, an hour and a half mark to make it a feature, and so added a 10-minute intro.
Yeah.
Of nonsense.
Yeah. So, and we'll get into that too, because this movie, spoiler warning, but this movie pretty much does its own sequel in its second half.
Yes, it does.
So we open. So we after that with Twisted Sister music playing, of course, because this is Dee Snider's Strangeland.
Is it? I meant to ask you that, Charles. Is it Twisted Sister throughout?
No, there's different music from different bands. Like the first band we hear after Twisted Sister is Marilyn Manson.
Okay.
Which
it all sounds like Twisted Sister, though.
Like, if you ever wanted to know a movie was filmed in the late 90s, Marilyn Manson on the soundtrack is a really, really big clue. Yes. So, we then go into what appears to be a PSA about internet pedophiles. Really, it felt like I was watching an old Dateline NBC episode from the mid-90s or something.
Wait, I don't even remember that happening. Did I zone out that quickly?
Yeah, like...
I must have.
Well, because so we go to Jennifer Gage, played by Linda...
Cardellini, who I love.
Who, likes to not mention she was in this movie.
I didn't even recognize her until I was on the IMDb later, and I was like, holy shit!
Well, she was talking about some movies she did nude scenes in, and she was like, "Oh, it was like my first nude scene," and everyone was like, "What about Strangeland?"
I blocked that out of my memory.
Yeah. So, so you hear an old school dial-up noise, and so this prompts me to ask the question, Chelsea: do you like hip hop?
Do I like hip hop?
Yes. Because that's the question that the internet pedophile manages to get her from. Where she's
you're right. I was like, why are you asking me that?
Where she's like, oh, do I? I fucking love it. And
yeah, they're in a teen chat. They're in a teen chat.
Yes.
Like on Instant Messenger, but one of those online teen chats.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, it plays like a PSA. Like her character is like she and her character are narrating what you can do in chat rooms, which you would think any teenager would actually know what those were.
Yeah, you'd think it's like they're trying to like spell it out and narrate it for people who are Dee Snider's age who don't actually know.
So they end up going to a party, which once again, it's very interesting that this teen chat room is that local.
Yes, it's that local, I guess it is. We don't know if it's always that local when the guy invites the kids to these parties, but I guess it kind of has to be. But there were a lot of kids in that chat room.
That's exactly the thing. Is like there's a lot of kids in that chat room. It does not seem it said teen chat. It did not say Helverton, Colorado teen chat.
Yeah.
It said teen chat. So, it's very odd that Captain Howdy happens to live in the exact same neighborhood that she does.
Oh yeah, his name is Captain Howdy. That's his online screen name persona. We did not say that yet.
Yes.
Yes, his name is Captain Howdy. CAPT Howdy.
Yes. So because there is a Twisted Sister song called Captain Howdy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Ah, damn it.
From like his first album from the 80s or something like that. So, so then they go to the party, and then we cut to Detective Mike casually sitting at the breakfast table, looking at crime scene photos.
Yeah.
And then we cut to ominous house shots, and Dee Snider working out.
Yes, he's working. He's doing pull-ups. It's very exciting.
Yes, and then we see girls running, but then he whacks them on the back of the head.
And they get dragged back into the house.
Yeah. Face first, which you would think would have made a whole lot of mess on Linda's face. But strangely does not.
Oh, and she's with her friend Deanna, too. We can't forget about Deanna.
Tiana. With a T, as in Thomas.
What?
It's Tiana, yeah.
Tiana, whoops.
Yep. Tiana, who is, up until Tucker Smallwood shows up, Tiana was the one black character in the film.
Oh, yes.
Who is then promptly killed about, 2 minutes in after her first scene.
Yeah, she's killed pretty quick.
Yeah. So, we find out that this dude lives in what looks like a very suburban goth club. With, candles on the stairs. And
so many candles.
Yeah, and, old lady wallpaper. And, in Helverton, Colorado. And we see he's sewing, Jennifer's mouth shut.
Yes, that's his thing.
Yeah.
Sews everyone's mouths shut.
Yeah. So, Detective Mike now, we see him at his precinct, which looks suspiciously like a high school.
Yeah, it does.
I really think that they just found, an abandoned school or something, and then just called it a fucking precinct. Because if you realize, the only thing we ever see of this precinct, we see a hallway, which looks like a school hallway, near a fucking vending machine. And then later on, we see a room filled with file cabinets.
That is true.
And those are the only 2 rooms we ever see of this precinct.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I
So,
also noticed that by this point, when they're like in the high school precinct, as I guess we're now calling it, I noticed that I had turned my TV volume up to 100, and I still couldn't hear what they were saying.
mm, well, I mean, well, I'm deaf, so I was listening with headphones anyway. But,
Hmm.
we meet his partner, best value Emilio Estevez. Um, and I mean, really, the dude is just being Emilio Estevez in The Breakfast Club. That was his exact style and look and way of acting. And he really just he might as well have just named the actor we can't afford Emilio Estevez.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We can't afford it.
So he's investigating because his daughter's disappeared. Now, I am not a cop, surprising, and I know that'll surprise everyone.
Yeah, it shocked me when I found out.
But I don't think a detective is allowed to investigate his own daughter's disappearance.
No, I wrote that down too. That's not allowed.
Yeah. That seemed a little why is he the one on the case? That he seems like he'd be a little too close and not really objective, and would probably
he proves that throughout the movie.
Yeah. So him and his wife are talking about how their daughter is missing and stuff.
And also, she's terrible. Can I just say that? The wife is terrible.
Well, here's the thing. So they're talking about how their daughter is missing. The doorbell rings 3 times before they answer it while their daughter is missing. At no point do these people act as though their daughter is actually missing.
No, they don't.
They
don't at all.
It's if your daughter is missing, you would the doorbell rings, you would be on it like that, right away. You would be right there. You'd be checking it out. Detective Gage is really chill throughout the whole movie.
He's so chill. I don't know. He's got this poker face on the entire time. His face hardly moves.
Yeah, so there's someone at the door. It's a young person and her mom. I didn't exactly get who the young person was.
Angela. Angela is her. It's the mom's niece. It's their niece.
Okay. So that's her sister and niece. Okay, good.
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Angela is her name.
Okay, so now we have more not even exposition, but more explanations of how the internet works.
Yes.
From Angela, I guess, would be the person. Just explaining to Detective. I like to call him Detective Mike, even though he's technically, I guess, Detective Gage. But
whatever.
He's, explaining to him how the internet works, because he obviously has never touched these things whatsoever.
No. He has this scene where he sits at the computer and gets frustrated because he doesn't know how to turn it on before this happens.
Yeah. So now we go to the first of many pointless speeches from Dee Snider.
Oh my god, so many speeches. Literally, the movie... Fuck, I have so many problems with this. Continue.
Yeah, what he is doing, and I only found this out through looking it up, he's actually quoting the father of the modern primitive movement, Fakir Musafar, which honestly makes it more annoying. If, I'm sorry, if you can't just write dialogue for your character...
I know, it's pretty sad.
Then don't have him speak. I get it if a character wants to quote Shakespeare every now and then or something like that. But if a character only spoke in fucking Shakespeare, I'd find it really, annoying.
Yeah, it's only okay if you're literally writing one of Shakespeare's characters into your script. Don't do that.
Yeah. Or even, as I said, 2 characters quoting Shakespeare to each other, or someone a one-sentence thing. Here... he is pretty much just might as well just say chapter 4, page 7.
Act 3, scene 2, verse 1, line 16. Here we go.
Yeah. There are no, rich coming of age, rich. Shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Stop it. So we see him go and he pierces himself.
Yes.
And just, I realized, while watching him do that and just quote the fucking father of modern primitives the whole time, I realized Dee Snider's character is the guy who you regret sitting next to at a party.
Yes.
Who just will, talk to you about his stupid philosophy over and over again. It reminds me of the time that I watched redneck zombies with a communist.
Oh, God,
and
dude.
Literally, the guy could not speak about anything except communism.
Yeah, somehow makes sense, though.
Yeah, so, so he's Pearson himself. We go back to Detective Gage, who is oddly calm for a man with a missing daughter.
But we're having a search party, right? Is this the search party? Yes.
Yeah, like, they pull a car out of the water.
Yes.
Kid Rock is playing for no reason other than they can put Kid Rock on the soundtrack. Yes. And, they pull it out, they find out there's a body in the trunk, and his reaction to his daughter's possible death is the same as a man who just sat down to have a beer and got asked to take out the garbage.
Yep.
Like, it's an annoyed sigh.
Yeah, it's her friend in the trunk, the only black character established at this point.
Yes. So, and for whatever reason, because the movie needs more exposition, the tow truck driver just happens to be an expert on primitives. Yes. And gives an entire, 4-minute dialogue to these characters about the significance of piercing and tattoos and
they find a gauge that's very large, like a nose gauge, like a nose ring that's so big that the guy has to be, super hardcore in order to fit it into his nose.
Yeah, it's like a 000 or something like that, where you'd be able to fit your finger through it.
Yes.
And so they go to a club where all the the kids hang out and pierce each other's dicks or whatever.
It's a weird fucking club, though, I gotta say.
Zabalba, which is named after the gates of hell.
Yes,
it's a very well lit goth club. I have been to many goth clubs and many fetish clubs and many clubs with industrial shit going on, and none of them are ever lit like that. Ever. None of them have that many lights on. No.
Is there a weird sex room and a weird punching people in the face room like there was in this movie?
I have never been to the weird punching people in the face room. No, that's not a place I've seen.
Because they were doing that.
The orgy balcony, I've seen stuff like that, but never at a goth club.
Yes, never at a goth club. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, goth clubs. In fact, slight aside, I was once yelled at by the bouncer at a goth club for getting a hand job, and
no balcony orgies.
Nope, they would not even let me finish. It was really annoying. In fact, he told me if I finished, he'd kick me out of the club.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
Yeah. So, I personally, I think he was jealous, but, whatever. So, they go there, they look around for 2 minutes and are like, oh, let's leave. While Captain Howdy is in the next room, getting suspension and having a near-death experience, and then giving a dumb speech after he's done.
About how sad he is that he's not dead. And he punches some dude in the face.
Yes.
Right. Because he's pissed that he stopped before he died.
Now, we have to understand that not only is he speechifying the entire movie.
Speechify! Sorry.
When he speechifies.
It's like a Harry Potter. It's like a spell in Harry Potter. Speechify!
Yeah, but whenever he's speechifying, he's talking like this.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been afraid of anything because I wish I was dead.
Yes, exactly. Then fucking die.
That, by the way, is an actual quote from the movie. That's actual dialogue.
Oh, God.
So, Detective Mike, here's where he can't figure out how to turn the computer on. Can I say Detective Mike is not really the best protagonist for this film?
No, he's really not. He's really not.
He's the guy is, I don't know, I don't get it. There is no emotion being shown by this person who should be frantic and should be, freaking out that their daughter is missing.
Yep.
And not only is their daughter missing, but their daughter's friend had her fucking genitals and, other parts of her body pierced. And obviously this man is freaked out by the thought of piercing.
Uh-huh.
So he should be losing his shit.
And he does not lose his shit.
No. So, so he goes on the computer guy tells them to go in a chat room, and he gets the niece in, and, when he goes in there, he updates the profile, which Captain Howdy happens to be looking at that exact moment.
Yes, conveniently.
That magically updates when you update it.
Yes.
Which computers in 2020 do not do.
No, they do not.
You still have to press refresh. Yet, this movie, when you change your information, just magically changes in real time on the screen on a dial-up modem.
On a dial-up modem. That's the kicker right there.
Yes.
And so the niece somehow knows exactly what to do to change in the profile in order to attract Captain Howdy's attention, although he's already directly looking at it.
Yes.
Yes.
Which, also, I have to say, there's no amount of dramatic music you can put to two people talking in an internet chat room to make it interesting.
No, every time we were in the chat room, I, zoned out.
Yeah, what is going on in the background, by the way? I hear, screaming or something.
Oh, there's a playground outside.
Okay. Well,
it's just a playground.
No. Well, that's not interesting. Kind of like the chat room. See, maybe if we put dramatic music to the playground, it would be interesting, which is apparently what the producers of Strangeland thought you could do in chat rooms. So then we're forced to deal with Captain Howdy giving his speech while piercing a guy's dick.
Yes, he pierces this man's balls while he's hanging from the ceiling.
He's piercing, it's an appalang, which, yeah, see, this shows how much I've actually hung out among the modern primitives. An appalang is a piercing that goes through the head of your dick.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bar that goes from one end to the other.
Ew.
And it is, it's not like a Prince Albert, which, is different, but it's in the general area. There's I think at least a dozen different piercings you can do to a dick, including subdermal ones, which subdermal ones are basically just, well, subdermal piercing is when you put a thing under the skin. Okay. And I've seen a few subdermal dick piercings, which I don't understand why anyone would do. Well, I understand how they make it. They give the penis more ridges, and it's apparently better when you get fucked by one. But
I'm gonna Google this.
But it makes your dick look like you have a really awful disease.
Right, that makes sense.
Because now you've got little bulbous spots all over the shaft of your dick, and that is not attractive.
So hot.
That's normally a sign that something's really, really wrong with your dick if it's got bulbous spots on it.
Ew.
So, so Jennifer pees out of her catheter, detective. And meanwhile, so the detectives, a SWAT team goes and raids a house that old people are fucking in.
Yes, old people, and the old man goes, "Give me my pills! I need my pills!"
Yeah, the old man with the Abraham Lincoln beard.
I love his beard.
Yeah, and then Captain Howdy calls up to taunt him, and because the dog is barking in the background, he realizes that Captain Howdy is in the neighborhood. Now, what I realized at this point is Captain Howdy is so in the neighborhood, he called this on his fucking next door neighbor. So, Captain Howdy is not a criminal mastermind.
No, he is not. He's a fucking idiot. I was so nervous for this dog, too, I gotta say. Mm-hmm. I was like, what is gonna happen to the dog? What is, no, please, God, no.
Yeah, so, Detective Gage literally just looks over to his right and sees a house with blacked out windows.
So convenient.
Yeah, so, because Captain Howdy, as I said, is a fucking moron. Who,
he's so dumb.
Yeah, think about that. If you're going to give a false address to somebody, you would give, across town. You would give, completely away from you. You wouldn't be all right, people next door, they're never going to notice that there's a house with, a fucking, with all the windows blacked
and
out.
doors blacked out, yeah.
Yeah, directly next to the house we called. So, so he calls, he taunts them, and, Detective Gage goes in through the cellar and finds his daughter and all these other people who were pierced. I noticed all the women are nude, all the men have loincloths on.
Yep, because that's fair and realistic.
Even though and not to mention the fact that Captain Howdy is piercing the guy's dick.
Yes.
But then covers the guy up again.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. So, and also the fact that Captain Howdy throws all of his piercing needles away in his regular garbage.
Yeah, so he goes around, Detective Gage goes and finds all these needles in a garbage. Like, you fucking idiot. And then conveniently, there is a flathead screwdriver, a long one underneath that he can use to pry open the basement doors from the outside. So conveniently placed. It's insane.
Yeah, no, Captain Howdy is not, as I said, he is not a criminal mastermind. So, I also should note that, so Detective Gage also enters this house without a search warrant, without calling for backup, without even telling his precinct.
Yeah, his partner's not aware of this. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. So he enters the den of pierced people. And this is the first time we see his character express emotion, which really made the fact that he's able to express emotion more egregious that he doesn't earlier in the film.
Exactly. I was like, that actor can do that? What the fuck?
Yeah, so at this point you realize it's bad direction. It's no longer bad acting. Because he appears to be an incredibly bad actor up until this point, where you realize, oh shit, he can emote. He can show actual emotion. And you realize that the director just was not telling him to fucking do it.
Yes.
So he meets Captain Howdy at this point and beats him in one punch.
Yeah, hits him in the back of the head. He goes down. He handcuffs him.
That is the entire that is the entire fight between Captain Howdy.
That should have been the plot. I wrote down they find him in 30 minutes. It was within 30 minutes that the movie is over.
Yeah. So they arrest Captain Howdy, even though any real police department would probably end up getting all that thrown out because of the fact that he entered the house without a search warrant.
Right.
If Captain Howdy is able to get himself a credible lawyer, which you wouldn't think he would, but yet Captain Howdy is able to keep his house 4 years later.
Yeah, he still has his fucking house. I don't even think about that. What the fuck?
Yeah. So I assume the mortgage must have been paid off.
Yes.
So if he's able to pay off his house in a suburban neighborhood, then
maybe and that's a big house. He probably pierced his parents to death, and it was his parents' house.
Yeah. So so Captain Howdy goes to a mental hospital, and the sequel begins. They apparently decided they weren't going to make a full movie out of Strangeland, but they wanted to. I'm surprised they didn't just do a trilogy within this hour and a half.
They kind of did.
Yeah. So now it's 4 years later. No one looks like they've aged.
Nope.
Captain Howdy now is a learned man.
Yes,
who spends his time
reading.
Yes, reading and still making speeches.
Yes,
still quoting books over and over and over again.
Uh-huh.
And his house has been vandalized, yet somehow it didn't get torn down.
It wasn't broken into.
Well, it had to have been broken into to have been vandalized like that, because there's shit fucked up all in the inside.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But it hasn't been burned down. Nobody did anything. They spray painted it and they broke a couple things. Yeah,
and he gets released for good behavior, or everything on his chart in the institution says that he should be released.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's convinced, and he tries to convince others that he's a really good changed man.
Yeah. And he has to take his medication because somehow taking this medication prevents him from becoming Captain Howdy, which I also should note, not taking it once somehow makes him go completely insane.
Yes, his real name is Carlton Hendricks.
Yes.
And he goes out the window the minute he misses a pill.
Yes. So, basically, meanwhile, Detective Gage's daughter is still having rape flashbacks. Yeah. Which, admittedly, I liked because you very rarely ever see characters having flashbacks to any sort of traumatic activity in a film. Right. Because most films kind of just gloss that over. And I did like that this actually touched on the fact that, yeah, you probably would be having fucking flashbacks after all that shit. Because
totally.
It's very clearly, we never see it, but it's very clearly stated that he also raped the people.
Yes.
That he had kidnapped.
Yes.
So, 4 years later, he somehow still has this house.
Uh-huh.
Which, as I said, he wouldn't have been making payments on it.
No, he wouldn't have.
So the mortgage had to have been paid off.
Uh-huh.
We also find out Zabulba has closed because Captain Howdy used to frequent it.
Yes.
So the local hillbillies and the news media and stuff are all angry, and they're outside his door. And the thing that got me, there's a person in the crowd with a sign that says "Castration for Defamation."
Really?
Which makes no sense whatsoever.
No, it doesn't.
I don't believe Captain Howdy was like publishing articles about any of the people, and
no.
Like I don't know where the defamation came from.
I don't know either. Hey, whatever. Dee Snider probably came up with it and thought he was brilliant.
So at this point it's lynching time. Because we go to Robert Englund, aka Freddy Krueger, who is now going to treat Captain Howdy like Freddy Krueger was treated.
Yes.
Because I guess he did not learn from his own movie.
No, he did not.
Yeah. So he tells everybody, because his daughter is out having sex. I assume it's his stepdaughter, because he kept telling his wife, your daughter. He didn't say our daughter.
No, he didn't, but I think maybe he was doing that just to be a dick, because she says daddy at some point.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I guess that could make sense.
She says, my dad's gonna kill me.
Okay.
So maybe he just calls her your daughter when he's mad at his wife.
That's entirely possible. So he calls, he calls his friends, tells them his daughter is missing, and they go to lynch Captain Howdy.
Yes.
And the thing that occurred to me is, so he told all these people his daughter is missing, yet none of them stopped to check the house to see if she's there.
Nope.
They just immediately kill the person who would have known where his daughter was.
Right.
And if she was missing.
They don't check the house, and he even makes the joke. He says she's probably in some motel with some boy or something, makes the joke to his wife. They never think to call any motels or anything.
Yeah, which she is, by the way,
which
actually
she
at
is.
A motel.
Exactly.
Having sex with a boy. And of course Captain Howdy has to make a speech while being lynched, because he is Captain Howdy. And Detective Gage sees this, he doesn't help. And that's when Captain Howdy's medication gets run over. So now that he's not going to be able to take his medication for a day, he also, by the way, is somehow able to dye his hair, shave the sides, get it dreaded, put all of his piercings back in within a single night.
Within a single night. So, yeah, did we get to where he actually gets lynched and they hang him?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they hang him, and they literally do it. These people literally just go and hang this man, which why they aren't all thrown in jail doesn't make any sense. There's never any repercussions for any of them. And I wrote after that, because it starts to rain, they leave, and this tree, the limb that he's hanging from, falls, and he's fine. He's still alive. So I wrote, is this a superhero movie?
Well, the first thing he says upon getting out of it was, what a rush.
What a rush.
I
wrote that down too.
Which I should note, by the way, was a line that Freddy Krueger said in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 upon shooting someone up with hypodermic needles.
Oh my God.
So I don't know if that was his clever reference to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Maybe.
But whatever. So now we see sexy Freddy watching porn. And
he is watching porn.
Oh yeah, and isn't that just the sexiest Robert Englund thing you've ever seen? Him in the tiny whities with his legs spread.
And it was like this weird porn too. Like it was a girl
Rape
being
incest
forced.
or
It was a
something.
rape incest porn. Yes.
Yeah. So
This is where the movie gets interesting when his wife comes in.
so his wife comes in. His wife starts dancing. However, and then it turns out that his wife has had her throat slit, and Captain Howdy is somehow behind her,
Even though he's a foot taller than her.
Yeah, Captain Howdy, like Dee Snider is what, like 6'5" or
Yeah.
6'8" or something insane like that, and yet is somehow able to completely 100% hide behind what looks like a 5'4", 5'5" woman.
Yes. And then he puts the wife down. Dee Snider throws the wife down, and he quotes the Wizard of Oz to Freddy Krueger and says, "Wanna play ball, Scarecrow?"
Oh, is that where that's
It's
from?
the Wizard of Oz, dude.
See, I had no idea. I wrote that down because I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, it's what the Wicked Witch of the West says to the Scarecrow in order to light him on fire. Yeah, I was like, don't do that. Don't quote that. No.
I assume I really think like Dee Snider couldn't come up with dialogue, so he just started quoting things.
Yeah. No, I know exactly.
Yeah. So Detective Gage is on his computer, which oddly the internet has not progressed in 5 years.
Nope, no progression whatsoever.
Because that is exactly how the internet works.
And the internet and the cops did not take his computer. It is the same computer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But Detective Gage gets a message, and it's literally the exact same interface from 5 years ago, which never happens.
No.
Never. Oh my God! I know the movie came out in 1998, and they couldn't have foreseen the future of us complaining every 2 years when Facebook changes its fucking interface. But they had to have known, Jesus, it's not going to look like this as technology is progressing as quickly as it was.
Yeah, and then this is a quote from further on, a little bit further in the movie, but it's relevant to this. Is that when he at one point even says, Captain Howdy says, isn't this technology wonderful, or something like that, when he's video chatting him later, as if it's somehow incredible to him.
Yeah.
It's so fucked.
Yeah, so, so we cut to him piercing Freddy Krueger. Mm-hmm. While giving a speech, and then he's piercing the Christian lady. Oh, we didn't mention the Christian lady.
Christian lady was outside of his house telling him he should die, and then she was at the lynching, and she's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, she's apparently part of some Christian organization or something, Mothers Against Moral Decay or something like that.
Yes, pretty much. It's like that.
And so he's piercing her boobs while giving a speech, and maybe I'm misremembering it wrong from the uncut version, but I could swear he pierces her clit or something.
Well, he puts all these arrows into her, the sharp things, and I think one hits her clit, yeah.
Yeah, he reaches down between her legs, and then she screams, and when she screams, she rips the stitches in her mouth.
In her sewn mouth, yes.
Yeah, which shouldn't really happen if he did a good job with it.
Also he doesn't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Detective Gage's daughter is missing again.
Of course.
And, she appears, we see old school streaming, where her boobs are being pierced by Captain Howdy while her parents are watching.
On a video chat, yes.
Once again, actual emotion coming from Detective Gage.
Uh-huh.
Not
my daughter's boob, no!
Yeah, and so... but then he gets angry, and of course he smashes the keyboard, because you certainly want to make it so you can't use the keyboard ever again.
Yep.
And yet somehow 2 seconds later the police find where everybody are.
Yes, they do. It's in is it a church, or it's a hall? It's a hall with a room upstairs. It's this giant open space. Yeah, I think it's a church.
Yeah, and his daughter is now traumatized forever.
Yes.
So she's now been kidnapped twice by the same fucking person.
Yep.
So...
And he says on the video chat, he says, "So much flesh, so little time."
Yeah, which I'm sure he took from Hellraiser somewhere.
Yes.
I'm positive that has to have been from Hellraiser.
Yeah.
So, and he leaves a matchbook that he wrote a fucking speech on.
Specifically
Zabalba.
for Detective Gage.
Yeah.
From Zabalba.
For Zabalba. And Zabalba, for being closed down for years ago, is somehow, no one bought the property, no one renovated it, no one put a new business in there. In fact, all the equipment is still in there, in completely working order.
Yes.
Just with plastic over it.
Yes, with plastic over it, because that makes sense. Because
that's exactly what happens when any place closes down. They leave everything there.
They don't sell anything, they just leave it.
No, and they just, So, Detective Gage and Captain Howdy get into a fist fight. And at one point, Detective Gage manages to pierce what looks like Captain Howdy's spine with, this big hook.
With this big hook, yep.
And Captain Howdy is a big, fucking buff, 6'5" man who somehow Detective Gage is strong enough to lift up by a chain.
Yes. To pull up and lift up in a keep lift and then hoist it and attach it to latch the chain on his end to something where he can dangle there.
Yeah.
He is that strong.
He is somehow able to be that fucking strong. And
again, he doesn't tell anybody that he's there.
No. His best value Emilio Estevez guesses it though.
Yes, he figures it out.
Yeah. And so he's banging on the door like a dog in the backyard who sees you're eating or something. And so Captain Howdy is hanging on the thing, and then Detective Gage sets him on fire. And while he's swinging back and forth, it's probably the worst flame suit I've ever seen.
Yep. Worst flame suit ever.
For whatever reason, Dee Snider had to be shirtless in this role.
Uh-huh.
And so the guy who is doing the flame suit is wearing the big bulky flame suit that does not look like Dee Snider's bare chest.
At all.
Whatsoever. It looks like a big bulky flame suit. So he's burning, yet his hair is surprisingly flame resistant.
Yep.
And the detective goes off to see his family and the credits roll.
Yep. It's a very abrupt ending.
Yeah. There's no consequences for the fact that the detective just, committed arson.
Yep.
And murdered this man.
Yeah, they leave the building and he's just like, I want to see my family, and then the movie's over.
Yeah. So,
I mean, thank God.
Well, up until last year, there were plans for a Strangeland sequel.
I'm glad that those plans changed.
So, that's prime sequel category. But the sequel was never actually made. Even though Dee Snider has been talking about it since the late 90s.
Yes.
So, Chelsea, how do you feel Dee Snider's Strangeland could have been a better film?
I think that someone other than Dee Snider should have done it.
Mm-hmm.
He should have played somebody else. He shouldn't have cast himself in it. That was the big problem. You could probably find a Dee Snider impersonator who could have done better. And whatchamacallit, I would have loved to have seen Linda Cardellini's character maybe be the actual protagonist instead of her fucking stupid father. And stop quoting all these fucking awesome things and make up your own dialogue.
If you know what, I would actually go so far. I agree with a lot of that. I think Jennifer Gage would have been a lot more interesting
to watch. Yes.
Yeah. Especially watching her there. You could have made a really haunting film out of this.
Yeah.
Her, stuck in the cage, not knowing what's going on. It'd be more, you could do a lot with that. However, the direction they went was all totally wrong for it. And I think Dee Snider is the biggest problem with this film. It's I think Dee Snider, if he had been quiet the whole movie,
that would have been better. Yeah.
That would have been, it wouldn't have just been better. He would have been a genuinely kind of creepy character.
Yeah.
If he wasn't giving speeches about how he wishes he was dead, or any of those sort of things. For one, Dee Snider does not know how to deliver a line.
No, he does not.
Like, that whole, you can't be talking like this the whole time. Like, what, like, dude, like, stop singing Peace Sells and, like, fucking, you know, what do you mean I don't believe in God? Talk to him, everybody. But, you know, like, me not support your system. Go to Cuba, I have to. Like, you know, like, for Christ's sake, like, don't act like Dave Mustaine. Like, just try, like, if he had just been silent, and they had, like, you know, like, him doing those things would have been really fucking creepy.
That's true.
And I think if you had made her the protagonist of the film, you could still have her dad as a detective. Maybe you cut to him every now and then.
Yeah, he's like a secondary important character. Yeah.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it was not like she was a big actress when this was done.
No, but it could have made her famous.
You know,
if she was the protagonist.
Yeah, like, it could have been a really big horror film for her. And I think that, like, what you really could have done was you could have, like, definitely upped the suspense. You could have upped the tension.
Yeah.
You could have had a genuinely chilling film. Even though the plot would still be Dee Snider kidnaps people and pierces them.
Yes.
Like,
we had forgotten to say that his whole philosophy behind piercing people is that they achieve some higher self, and if you go through pain, only then can you find this catharsis that gives you pleasure. Like,
well, that is the direct quotes of Fakir Mustafa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and as I've said, like, I can totally understand that. I've known modern primitives. I've known people who've done split tongues. I've known people who've done split penises. I've known people who've done all sorts of, you know, subdermal piercings all over the place.
Right.
You know, and I understand that. And I've done scalpel play videos, so I understand the pleasure that can come from pain.
Right.
But you don't need to narrate it. You don't need to tell people it. The entire time you're in there. Like, there is no reason to do that. And that's one of the reasons why I think Strangeland definitely fit into the category of our cinematic autopsies, because there could have been a really great film in this idea.
Yeah.
And instead we get what's not the worst film we've ever shown. I mean, it's watchable.
I watched it.
yeah, but it is not a good film. So that's kind of, but no, I totally agree with you on the points there, on ways that it could have been a better film.
Yes.
And as I said, I went into most of the movie thinking Detective Gage was a bad actor until it was time for him to show emotion.
But really, the whole time should have been the time for him to show emotion.
Yeah. And as I said, like, that does not seem like an actor's choice. That seems like a director's choice.
Yeah, it does.
That definitely seems like, no, man, you want to, like, I can almost imagine him arguing with the director over that, where he's like, shouldn't I be, like,
we send our deepest sympathies to the actor who played Detective Gage.
Like, I feel like I can imagine, like, you know, knowing actors and being a director and being an actor, I can imagine an actor saying, hey, shouldn't I be more upset about this? Yeah. And a director being like, no, you're stoic, man. You're a manly man. You don't show emotion. Fuck that pussy shit.
But it's my kid. I don't care.
Yeah, you know. So, you know, I think a couple, and that's the thing, every film we're talking about here could have been a better film with adjustments.
Yes.
So that is Strangeland.
That's Dee Snider's Strangeland.
Strangeland. And, you know, but as I said, it wasn't the worst movie we've ever seen.
No.
It was watchable.
If you want to get drunk with your friends and watch it, then maybe you can enjoy parts of it. But don't go, like, right now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and, like, soberly watch this movie. Yeah, so, you know, we watched that one because I wanted to kind of give you a palate cleanser, Chelsea. Okay.
Because
what's next?
Because that one was kind of a film that you can watch and you can enjoy parts of it. Well, the next film, we're gonna go to one of the, now here we're hitting one of the heavy hitters. This one's actually been requested many times to us by people who heard we were doing this. So next week, tune in when Charles and Chelsea's Cinematic Autopsy handles Zardoz, starring Sean Connery.
Oh no.
The gun is good, the penis is evil. Zardoz.
Can I
All right.
quit? Can I quit now?
Oh, wait till you see this movie. Sean Connery in a diaper in post-apocalyptic America.
I can't
trying to get laid by psychic teenagers.
Oh my God.
Yep.
May God have mercy on our souls.
There is no God here. Only Zardoz. Anyway, that will make a lot more sense next week.
Okay.
Anyway, people, it has been Charles D. Lincoln.
And I'm Chelsea the Sage. Thanks for listening.
And we are signing off for the Cinematic Autopsy. Okay, we're signing off.
All right, bye.
All right. So...